Welcome to another of Sean the Kook's Dude-jitsu lessons. As I've said before, our base style, our foundation of Dude-jitsu as exercise and possible self-defense is going to be wrestling. Now, to really get good at wrestling, you're going to need a partner, but all I'm going to explain today, just using our buddy Torso Bob here, is why wrestling and not boxing or kickboxing. Because from a wrestling stance, whether that like shield hand, sword hand style or classic style, it's not that hard to go into blocks. It's not hard to block someone else's strikes from that stance. So you're not giving anything up by going to a wrestling stance. And honestly, it's easier to teach a wrestler to throw a cheap shot punch in their style than it is to teach a boxer how to do a takedown. So it'd be better to start with the harder skill, wrestling. Now I know you're probably thinking like, but Sean, you're a boxer. Why are you getting so hard for wrestling? Because there's a big difference between sport and between self-defense. And there's a big difference between warfare and self-defense. And self-defense is mostly a legal term. So self-defense is how far you can go to stop an attack without becoming an attacker yourself. Because the law doesn't care if who's right or wrong, and if there's like some higher morality that you should get a couple free shots. It doesn't care. You can hit to a certain point. You can wrestle them down to a certain point, but you have to stop once you have the advantage, or else you then are open to assault charges or possibly civil litigation from the person you're fighting with. So back to that wrestling. Wrestling, we got open hands. So we can grab, because it's not that hard to close your hand and throw that shot. It's not that hard to just close your hand real quick. So you don't need to start with the strikes, because the strikes, if you think about it, are really just cheap shots from wrestling. If you learn wrestling, you'll be able to overpower your opponent, because you'll get strong just by practicing wrestling, and you'll overpower your opponent most likely. But if you need to throw strikes in, it's more effective to grab someone's hair and hit them in the face than it is to just try to hit them in the face while they can move their head around. So it's dirty boxing, dirty wrestling is what you would use in a self-defense scenario. But if you're just doing it for fitness, which I suggest you do, because the best way that learning martial arts affects you in the self-defense sector is while you're practicing martial arts, you're not going out and getting in stupid fights. That's just my personal experience. Just getting together with friends and wrestling around a little bit is going to make you really strong, really conditioned, and give you a lot of great endurance, because in and of itself, it's just a fantastic workout. And it's good buddy time. It's good friend time. So that is my lecture on, once again, the exact same topic. I've done several others, but I'm going to try and give as many examples as why you should practice wrestling on your own time, specifically American folk style wrestling. All right, thank you for listening to another very long-winded online rant from Sean the Kook.